The Auburn Tigers' 38-24 victory over the Baylor Bears is by far Hugh Freeze's biggest victory as Auburn's head coach. Let's go. What's up, Auburn family? What's up to my up-tempo gang? Welcome to another edition of the Up-Tempo Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dustin Smith, and I'm going to tell you why Auburn's double-digit victory over Baylor last Friday night in Waco was by far Hugh Freeze's biggest victory as Auburn's head coach. And we'll talk about what it means for the program moving forward, what it means for the season. And I got to say, there was a whole lot of talk this offseason about Hugh Freeze that had nothing to do with football. And I got to give a shout out to him for silencing the haters, silencing the critic, and just lining up and running it down Dave Aranda's defense's throat. Good stuff, man. Before we get started on today's episode, do me a favor. Like this video. Go ahead and share it out on social media. You can tag me at DMcShaw28. Tag the War Report Podcast Network. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done that yet. There's a lot of people that are watching that still are not subbed. Make it easy on yourself, baby. It's free. Just hit that button. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, anywhere where we get your audio podcast, do me a big favor over there. Leave a 5-star review. Turn on your notification bell. Get those alerts. Turn on your automatic downloads. All those things are free, and they help the show out more than you guys know. Let's get started, man. Is this victory over the Baylor Bears Hugh Freeze's biggest as Auburn's head coach? I certainly say so. I'm sure there's some of you that will say the Texas A&M victory last year, and I won't have too much pushback on that. It was an SEC opponent that at the time was firmly within the playoff hunt late in the season. He kind of dealt a blow to an SEC foe right there, getting that victory over them. Then they had to go and play Texas the next week, and losing that game kind of knocked them out. So that victory over A&M was nice. It was very big for recruiting. You had Deuce Knight there. You had a lot of top-level prospects there. That environment, this field storming, all that kind of locked down a lot of those recruitments and helped push Auburn over the top and secure a top 15 class. So I won't push back. That was a nice victory. But with all the talk that went on this offseason, we'll stick with the football side because I'm going to get into the other stuff in the second segment, but just about how important of a game this was for Auburn's season. It was a swing game. And with all the negativity that naturally comes with starting off a tenure as a head coach with 2 back-to-back losing seasons as an SEC coach, like any school in the Southeastern Conference outside of Vanderbilt, maybe, and even there, they'd still be like, hey, buddy, what's up? Any school in the SEC, if you do that, you start your tenure off with 2 straight losing seasons, there's going to be big questions. There's going to be the Sharks are going to be circling, and Hugh Freeze is no different. This was a big-time win that he had to have. It was on national TV. It was on Fox. Baylor, kind of a lot of people's picks to win the Big 12. The spread was only 2.5, so Vegas thought this was going to be close. All the experts thought it was going to be close. A lot of people picked Baylor to win this game, and really, it felt like Auburn could have won the game by more. They left a couple of opportunities out there and, some big 4th down stops and all that kind of stuff from Auburn. Baylor probably feels the same way, like it should have been a little bit closer. But, man, there was just never really a doubt in my mind from, like, the second half on. It's like, boy, if we just keep doing this, if Auburn just keeps running the ball and leaning on Baylor and doesn't try to get too cute, then Auburn's just clearly the better team. And how does it get that way? Number one, it got that way because of Hugh Freeze's talent acquisition. From the moment Hugh Freeze showed up at Auburn, flipping guys like Keldrick Falk, flipping guys like Connor Lew, flipping guys like Kay and Lee, and then all the guys that he brought in when he finally had his first full class, you see it. You saw Connor Lew dominating the line of scrimmage, going out in the portal and getting Mason Murphy and Xavier Chaplin. You see him dominating those guys. Hey, a guy like Jeremiah Wright stuck around forever. He could have just hit the portal and said, you know what, I'm out. Tall Miller coming in when Jeremiah got hurt. Go out and get him out of JUCO. Big time get. And Tall wasn't necessarily ready right away, but boy, how much better as he got in his time at Auburn and he developed. The talent acquisition. It's night and day on the offensive line. It's night and day at the line of scrimmage in general from when Hugh Freeze took over. So he deserves the credit there, number one. And number two, like we all talk about the wide receivers. We know the talent at the wide receiver. We know it's a night and day difference from when before Hugh Freeze showed up, when after he became Auburn's head coach, as far as talent in the wide receiver room. But you've built it. You've built out a roster now. You've built out an offense to where you're forcing a defense in Dave Aranda to say, you guys are so good at wide receiver, we have to play too high all night and not let you beat us. So you've acquired so much talent that you're kind of at a pick your poison type moment. Jeremiah Cobb was a big Cadillac guy. Player retention. When Cadillac left, it was important to keep Jeremiah Cobb. Jeremiah Cobb was a big-time prospect coming out of Montgomery. Big-time, high four-star prospect. And keeping him to just player retention, keeping him to stay around after the first 2 years probably weren't what he envisioned. I know last year he wanted more touches. Look at Damari Alston. Stay true. Player retention. Keeping these guys, man. Like, as much as talent acquisition is important, once you go get them in today's college football, you got to keep them. Hugh Freeze has kept all these guys. He's brought all this talent in and got these guys to buy in. He's now built an offense that's so talented that he can pick. We can do what we want to do. Dave Aranda never switched up. If he would have switched up and he would have said, you know what, we're going to try to stop the run game, which I'm surprised he didn't. But if he would have switched up, Auburn was ready for it. The talent acquisition has been there now. If they would have switched up and said, you know what, extra men in the box, we're shutting down the run, enough is enough, which I was expecting them to try to do at some point, you could have just cooked them over the top with all the weapons that you've acquired. So you've built an offense through talent acquisition that can do more than one thing. Look, obviously, anyone that's watched this show knows how hard me and other shows as well, anybody that was paying attention, how hard everybody was on Hugh Freeze for his in-game management last year, going away from what worked in games like the Oklahoma game, when you should just turn around the hands of Jarquez Hunter. So we got to give him credit where it's due. I'm sure it's tempting to want to throw the ball to Cam Coleman, to Eric Singleton, to Malcolm Simmons, to Perry Thompson. But if Dave Aranda decided I'm not switching up, then Hugh Freeze said, I'm just going to take what you give me. I thought it was his best in-game coaching job since he's been at Auburn. I thought it was his best scheme going into a game since he's been at Auburn. The chess match of the offensive mind of Hugh Freeze versus Dave Aranda, Hugh Freeze won that. Hugh Freeze won that flat out. And I have a ton of respect for Dave Aranda and what he can draw up on the defensive board, but Hugh Freeze took his ass to school. Make no mistake about that. And he didn't try to get too cute. You saw no trick plays. Everything that Auburn did made sense and worked off of each other. Bringing Eric Singleton in the sweeps, you see the Baylor linebacker's eyes going with it, and then boom, Jackson goes the other way. I thought Hugh was in his bag all night. He had the right call at the right times. Those little screen passes to Eric Singleton, I know they don't look like much, but they stayed ahead of the chains, and it was what the defense gave him. It was just sitting there. So why not take it? Didn't try to get too cute on a 4th and 1. Just drew up a play. Your quarterback's has been carving them up all night with his feet. 20-plus yards into the end zone, kind of sealed the deal. A big thing that really stood out to me, and I spoke about it on the reaction show, was in that first half when he decided to just kick the field goal inside the red zone, take the 3, and keep it pushing. That was night and day from last year. He was frustrated, like any coach would be, that close to the end zone, you got to send a field goal kicker out. You want to come away with 6 there. But I firmly believe in momentum. And there were times in Hugh Freeze's first 2 years where he took momentum away from Auburn when Auburn had it. If you go for that 4th down right there and you don't get it, ultimately Auburn won the game by 14, so it just would have made it an 11-point victory. But, man, just in terms of momentum, you get the field goal. It's so like – think about the difference of getting a field goal, running back to the sideline and saying, all right, y'all, let's go. Hey, we almost scored right there. We got 3. We can bounce back the next drive and finish, okay? Think about the psychology of that versus if you go forward and don't get it. Now you're coming back to the sidelines. Everyone's heads down. The body language is going to suck. Like, man, we didn't get anything out of that. It's you saw it with the missed field goals last year from Auburn. You saw how demoralizing not getting 3 when you have 3 in your back pocket was. To just put the 3 on the board, to not overthink it, and just keep the momentum rolling. You kick it back off and you play defense. Man, I love that. I loved it. I thought it was so encouraging to me. Hugh Freeze didn't get in his own way. Not only did he not get in his own way, he was in Dave Aranda's way. Like, he was the one that was dictating the game. When I gave my keys to the game, I said it's real simple in this one. Whoever runs the ball the best is going to win. And obviously, Auburn won that matchup at the line of scrimmage. And Hugh Freeze never deviated from it. He never switched up. Jake Crane tweeted out, I think the Auburn staff was kind of shocked that the Baylor defensive staff never tried to do anything to shut down the run. But as shocked as they probably were, they just said, okay, dude, here we go. Snap that thing. We'll do it again. It was beautiful to see. I feel like it's been a long time since we have seen a head coach, a play caller at Auburn come in with a game plan like that and execute it to perfection and never deviate from it. And I'm so encouraged that Auburn won a game by 14 points on the road versus a team that is a favorite in its conference without having to use Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman had 1 catch. Malcolm Simmons had 1 catch. I don't think Perry was even targeted. Didn't have to. And didn't try to force it because it wasn't there, man. Like, again, I just thought Hugh Freeze was in his bag. By far, in my opinion, his best performance in game as Auburn's head coach. The scheme he had dialed up, the game plan that he had dialed up, it was a thing of beauty. It was fun to watch. And I think back to some of those Nick Marshall games where Auburn threw the ball less than 10 times and still came away with blowout victories. I'm going to say it again. Who cares how you move the sticks as long as you're moving the sticks? And there's going to be teams that say, okay, Auburn, we'll shut down the run. And then I think Hugh Freeze's face is going to light up and say, okay, now watch what I got here. Because you didn't even have to unleash Cam Coleman on him yet. And shout out to Cam Coleman and all those wide receivers because, boy, they were blocking their ass off. And that's the other thing I want to give Hugh Freeze credit for. This team looked bought in. There were several times in this game where the previous teams maybe that oh, shucks, here we go again, feeling like, oh, boy, here it comes. Here comes the disaster. Because, I had that feeling every time something bad would happen because the last half a decade has kind of trained me to think that way naturally as an Auburn fan. And there's previous teams going back through multiple coaches now that would have folded in several of those moments. Think back to I know the situations are a little bit different because you weren't trailing and the opponent is obviously different. Okay. So, but think back to that 4th and 1, that critical 4th and 1 versus Georgia last year and what happened. And then think back to what happened last Friday night on the critical 4th and 1. Big difference. I saw a quarterback and a head coach on the same page. I saw wide receivers who want to catch 5, 6, 7, 8 balls a game and are getting paid big money to do that. Engaged in blocking and being physical and just happy to get out with a victory. Did you guys see the post game? See the post game in the locker room? Guys lifting Hugh Freeze up over their head. They're probably tired of people talking about their head coach. This team looked bought in. This team looked like it had followed the lead of the Keldrick Falks and the Connor Lews and the Damari Austins and the Champ Anthonys, right? So Hugh Freeze has talked a lot about culture and the culture council and all these kind of things. I thought it was on full display Friday night. I thought I saw a toughness displayed from an Auburn team that I haven't seen in a little while. A mental toughness. And I'm going to give Hugh Freeze his credit for that. So, look, man, Before we get into the second segment, let's talk about these memberships. $3.99 a month for the JV squad, $5.99 a month for the varsity squad. JV squad gets you members only live chat, member shout outs. You saw it. We had the live show was popping. The live Saturday morning show was popping. Everyone was happy to react to the big time victory. The members get the priority reply to comments. If there's a bunch of comments flying in, we're going to get the members in there first and foremost. Early access to videos. You can get the exclusive gifts. Varsity Squad gets you all that. Plus recruiting update videos, gameplay with me, discounted merchandise over at thewarportshop.com. It is not free to run a podcast. You don't just turn on the camera and talk into it, which is what I thought when I first got into this. Nope. Costs a little bit of money. The gas to go to the games and do all that kind of stuff. We'll have an announcement here in a couple of days about what game I will be going to Friday night, which commitment and or prospect we'll be taking a look at. I got to kind of get a look at the schedule and see how all that plays out. So, but definitely going to start that this Friday night, getting out there and getting some content for you guys. So join these memberships today. If you're listening on audio, go over here to YouTube, sign up for these. This is the best way to help the podcast out. And yeah, I want to thank great numbers, great jumping just in the memberships this past month. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you guys, like my guy Hugh Freeze and Miss Karen Parker and all of you guys that gift these memberships out. It really helps the show out, man. So go, and if you interact with the channel a lot and you were on like the live show the other day, maybe check your email. You might have an invitation in there that you just need to accept for a free month of membership. And I think you'll like the content and you want to keep going. So sign up for these memberships today, man. Before we get out of here, I just got a little something I want to say. Just got a little something I want to say real quick. You know, my criticisms of Hugh Freeze, I feel like have all been fair, and they have all been game day related or football related, right? I challenge anybody to pull up a clip of me attacking Hugh Freeze for something stupid that like a lot of the national media does. For, when things that he says gets blown out of proportion. A lot of times I don't even like I didn't do an episode on the golf stuff, right? When that was the big thing. I may have brought it up, mentioned it in passing in an episode, but we never devoted real time to that here. Because I don't even want to give breath to a lot of that crap. I understand that Hugh Freeze is a lightning rod. My criticisms of an Auburn head coach are always going to be about on the field. And hopefully they give us little reason to criticize, right? Like I don't have to criticize Bruce Pearl or Butch Thompson a whole lot because they do a good job. And you'll hear no criticism of Hugh Freeze from me this week. But some of this stuff that has nothing to do with football and it's so clickbaitish. And I watched Hugh Freeze move around at SEC Media Days. He sat down briefly with our guy Mike G. And he looked loose. He looked relaxed. Now, that was in the middle of all of the discussions about what's wrong with Auburn's recruiting. When Auburn wasn't spending the money and there was the whole August 1st thing and all of that. That was the middle of all that. That was in the middle of the golf controversy and all those kind of things. I'm telling y'all, I'm not just saying this. Hugh looked relaxed, like off camera discussions type thing. Like he looked good. If you go back and watch my videos from SEC Media Days, I said this team, the three guys that were there, Jackson, Connor, and Keldrick, but this head coach, there's a different demeanor this time. So with all that swirling around, I'm telling y'all, boy, he was walking around Atlanta with shoulders down, relaxed, feeling good. There was a lot of discussion and people that have paid attention now as he goes into his third year as Auburn's head coach that watch all of his press conferences and ask him questions in the press conferences. There was a lot of discussions of like, man, he sounds more confident than ever before. He's probably the most honest coach Auburn's had in a long time at the mic. And he's sounding really confident in this group. Just the tone and the message was different. With all of the noise going around, this is the version of Hugh Freeze that we need to see moving forward. There was, for everyone that had golf jokes, for everyone that had Auburn as broke jokes and Hugh Freeze has mailed it in and he's not trying to recruit no more and all this stuff that was always so outside of the narrative of the truth. I get it. It's fun to take shots at Auburn, kick them while they're down. I get it. It's fun to take shots at Hugh Freeze, kick him while he's down. He messed up a long time ago in a big way, and some people can't let it go. I understand all that. But look in the mirror and ask yourself, how would you react if millions of people constantly talked about you and blew everything you said out of proportion? What would have been the narrative if Hugh Freeze would have lost? If Auburn would have lost to a team that they were more talented than in Baylor? Like, Hugh Freeze says that he doesn't really feel the pressure, and I think that's just because he's accepted it. He knows it's part of the job. You don't take the Auburn job if it without understanding there's constant pressure on you, like one loss and all of a sudden pressure can mount type thing, you know. But like, man, with all of the noise, with all of the pressure, with everyone saying, "Hey, Hugh needs to win this game. Hugh needs to win this game, or the noise is going to start back up." Not only did he win it, but he put forth his best effort as Auburn's head coach. So, hand clap. Shout out to Hugh Freeze. That's the version of Hugh Freeze we need to see right there. Do whatever it takes to win the football game. We don't give a damn about what's being said outside of this building. Whatever's being said outside of this locker room, outside of Auburn, Alabama, it doesn't matter. We're going to line up and run the football down your throat for 4 quarters, and y'all can tell whatever little jokes you want. Now, let me ask y'all this before we get out of here. Kalen DeBoer do any golfing this summer? Nobody talked about it. It was all Hugh Freeze golfing. Oh, man, Auburn's cooked. I'll tell you what, Kalen DeBoer squad looked like they had all been out golfing all summer. Gus Malzahn took them boys to school. Florida State blew the Alabama Crimson Tide off of the ball for 4 quarters. In a game they were favored by 2 touchdowns. So all those stupid little pop shots at Auburn, all those jokes all summer long. Who's talking now? Listen, man, I get it. I know how the internet works. Just get your quick little witty tweet out. Boom, got him. Ha ha. I worded this one in a way that it's going to get 2,000 likes. Got him. Ha ha. Hugh's golfing too much. Yeah, woo. Crap on Auburn. One team in the state is 1-0, and the other team is 0-1. Now, look, this is not a troll Alabama thing because Auburn has not beat Alabama since 2019. And y'all know I'm a scoreboard guy. So Auburn's got to beat Alabama before we really get to talking. But the point I'm making here is there was a whole lot of crap from a whole lot of people all summer. And as we sit here on August 31st, this is airing on September 1st, but I'm recording it on August 31st. As we sit here today, boy, the mood is different amongst the two fan bases. It's crazy how it switched up once football got played. We talked about all this non-football stuff all summer, and then we kicked the ball off. Now what? Hey, thank you guys for watching, man. Shout out to Hugh Freeze, man. Big time victory. He was in his bag. I'm going to say it again. More of that. You got Ball State this week. We're going to have a lot of episodes dropping this week, man. Stay tuned to the Up Tempo podcast. Subscribe, turn on notifications, all that stuff. Follow me on X at DMcShaw28. And until next time, it's Warren Amigo, baby.